For this week's tutorial, I'm going to go to our homepage in Schoology and I'm going to download some files. I'm going to click on that. The magazine cover bleed line, so I'm going to download that and save it to my graphic design folder. I am going to go and download Drawing Like Leonardo and say save as and download that as well. I'm then going to go back and get a magazine cover that I wanted. I'm going to right click on it, say save image as, and download that into my graphic design folder as well. Now that I have those, I'm going to go to Photoshop and I'm going to open some documents. I'm going to say file, or I'm going to open Photoshop. I'm going to say create new, and I'm going to go to right over here. I'm going to go to the right side of this and I'm going to say mag cover. And I'm going to change the width and the height of this. I'm going to type in 8.625 by 11.125. I'm going to make sure that I have my resolution at 300. It's there. My background contents are white. That just means my document's going to be white. And this is a high def document, so it'll be coming in at high def. And I click OK, create, and we have this. So for today's assignment, I'm going to make a magazine cover. And I'm going to bring in a couple items before I do that. And I'm going to go to File, Open, and I'm going to bring in the file that I downloaded off of Schoology. I'll have that over there. I'm also going to go File, Open, and I'm going to find that other file that I downloaded, Open, and I am going to go one more time and go File, Open, and grab those specs that I had for the magazine cover bleed lines and open that as well. It's asking me the size. Yeah, that's okay. So that's in. So I should have the magazine cover that I chose. I should have my other file with the specs for this project, and I brought in a photo just for my magazine cover. I chose, I want you to choose a magazine that you like, or you can make up your own magazine based on something else. I chose Professional Artist Magazine. I'm just going to try to copy this as much as I can, and I might change some of this text to put what I want to put. So the first thing I'm going to do is add some bleed lines, and if you don't know what those are lines that go across. They keep the printer from, you're leaving enough space for the printer. On a magazine, they bend the ends on it and they make really large sheets, so this will be on it. There'll be several on these on a sheet, and I need to know where to cut. And then when the print, when it goes into distribution, they need to make sure that any of your wording, the text that you're writing on there, isn't around the edges, right, on the cover. So we put these safety lines for the printer and the cutter. And so I'm going to add those now. And the way I do that is I'm going to go up to View, and I'm going to say go down to New Guide. And I hit that. And you'll see that it says position 0 inches. So I want to start off with just 0.25 in that. So I'm going to put 0.25 and hit OK. And you see I have a line going across the top. I want to put one on the bottom, and I put the specs in there for you. And I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go New Guide. And this time I'm going to say vertical, and I'm going to put in 0.25. And I have one vertically and one horizontally. I'm going to make another one horizontal over on this side. So I'm going to go View, New Guide, and I'm going to type in 8.375. 8.375. And hit OK. And there's my other magical bleed line. I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to say New Guide, and this one will go horizontal. And this one will be 10.875. And I'm going to hit OK. So I have all four. I'm now going to put an additional line in there. So I'm going to do it again. And this will go on the inside of that. And I'll put New Guide. And I'm going to make this first one vertical over here on this left side. And this time I'm just going to type in 0.5 and put OK. And there you see my double. And again, New Guide. And this time it's going to be 8.125. 8.125. And hit OK. And then I'm going to switch and go to horizontal. And the first one will just be 0.5. And I'm at OK. And the last one, View, New Guide. And it's horizontal. And I'm going to put 10.625 and hit OK. Okay. This is probably the hardest part, is just getting these in. But this is instrumental, because I want you to do this because it is professional. And this is what you would be expected to do if you were working tomorrow in a graphic design shop. I tell you to put some bleed lines in for the printer, and you did it. So you are creating something that's already has a professional format. Okay, now I want to bring in my photo. I chose this Leonardo one, but I want to paste it over this. So I'm going to say File, Embed, Place Embedded, like we did before. And placing something is a little bit different than bringing it in. If I just went File, Open, the way I did when I brought it in the first time, it's just going to open in a new window like that. I want to place it in this document. So I'm going to say Place Embedded. And then it's going to go look, and I'm going to say this one here, and I'm going to click place it. And it comes over your document, and it's got a selection on it. So I want to hold down my shift key, and I want to drag this over this so it covers my document. And the same thing down here. I can just pull this down, or the corners probably be better. I want to get rid of that little piece of black there. And once I kind of covered my document, I can go around and move it if I need to, just by grabbing the center of it. I think that looks good. And once I place it, I'm going to go up to this check mark and check that, and sure enough, I have it. So I'm going to start adding some text. And if I look back at my magazine that I'm copying, I'm going to increase the size on this for a little bit. I'm going to start with this professional artist. And if I need to look at it even more, I can just place that in here if I wanted to. I can go File, Place Embedded, and grab it and bring it in here. I hold down my Shift key. I can make it a little bit bigger, so I can look at it while I'm working, right? I can't put it over here like I did when we were in Adobe Illustrator. It kind of goes off the board here, so that's okay. I'm just going to leave it right here for a minute, and I'm going to grab my text tool, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on the left side. And once I type in there, or just press my key, it takes me to a over my layers panel, my properties panel opens up, and it has the font that's in there. It has the point, which is how big it is. It has where it's columned at, and it has the color. As you know, I can change the color just by double clicking that, and the color menu palette will open. For right now, I'm just going to type. So I'm going to type professional. And if I look at that text, I notice they're all in capitals. So I'm going to keep my capital on. And that's it. And I'm going to go up to my selection tool now. Get away from this, because I just want to move this. And I'm just moving it over there in this area. I don't know if I like the size yet. I can change that later by just going back to the text and highlighting it, and then going up here. And I can change it this way in here. I can just type in whatever I wanted to type in, or I can hover over this text right here and drag it left to right and change the size that way. For right now, I'm just going to wait, because I'm going to go type the artist part of this, and I'm going to do it on a separate text. And my text tool doesn't want. Okay, there we go. Nope. Maybe because I have it. Oh, let's do that. There you go. All right. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to type in artist. And I notice that that is not in capitals, so I'm going to make it small. I'm going to highlight it and drag this over, make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to look at that, and I'm going to go, that text is not right. So I'm going to go over here and try to find one that is. And I just went over to this text, and I just right-clicked on this, or left-clicked on this lever here. And as I hover over these different ones, it kind of shows me that looks pretty close. Just right there. The A doesn't look exactly right, but it's close. That has a serif on it. I don't want that. So I'm just looking at the A right now, Trying to see if I can get something that's a little bit too skinny. That's not gonna work. That's getting kind of close. That's getting pretty close. I might come back to that one if I don't find a better one. That's acumen. That's not close. That's a little bit better. So, yeah, that's close too. I kind of told you in the beginning to stay away from these kinds of fancy, frivolous, highly stylized fonts for our work. They're kind of distracting. I'm gonna go back. I think I kind of like that one. It's kind of close to it. So I'm gonna choose that one. And then I'm gonna make it bigger by just hovering over this T, and I'm going to try to make it about that big. Okay, I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to grab my selection tool and move it to somewhere like that. And that's kind of getting kind of close. You know, it's not exactly, but it's okay. Yeah. All right, so from here on out, I'm really just going to copy a lot of this. I'm going to choose different fonts. I'm going to grab my type tool. I'm going to look at that top up there, and I see that it says business. Make that smaller. Oh, those are all capitals. I'm going to make sure those are capitals. It's got a little plus sign there. I'm going to throw that in. It's got advice. It's got another plus sign. It's got resources. Plus sign. And it's got education. Plus sign, tutorials, plus sign, art news. Okay, that looks kind of close to it too. It might have to be a little bit bigger. I'm gonna highlight all that. And I'm going to go just up to 14. See what that looks like. That looks pretty good. It's on the bleed line though, so I'm going to move it. And I'm going to select it. And you'll see that every time I'm doing something over here, I'm creating these different texts. They're creating layers for each one. This one's for the artist one. So if I wanted to move that one, I can. And I'm going to move it down. And I'm going to select this one, and you see it selects that layer, and I'm going to use my arrow keys on my keyboard. I told you can just press those arrow keys to the right or up or down, and I'm going to get it off that bleed line. And I notice there's a line going across there. I'm going to go over here and grab my rectangle tool, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to grab that rectangle tool and just come over here and drag a very, about like that. I want to make it very narrow. And like that. Yeah. And I'm going to grab my selection tool, select it. Oops. should be there, yeah. And I'm gonna move that around with my arrow keys as well. Move that over a little bit. So I'm kind of liking the way this is going. If I select this again, if I want to select this, the thing I placed in here, all I have to do is press Control or Alt on the Chromebook, Alt plus the letter T, and it selects it again that way. I want to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to hold down my Shift key and drag this up a little bit so I can see this a little bit more. And I'm going to go back to my type tool, and I'm just going to type, I see it has the date there, and I'm going to type in the date, and I'm going to use our current date, and I'm going to use all capitals, September 2020. Okay. I'm going to select it, move it over a little bit. I'm not going to put that January. And then I'm just going to start this. So as I told you, these are all called headlines on the magazine cover. And the space that I leave between them as I'm composing this, making this composition, is called the white space. It's not white, but it's just the term we use in design. A white space is the space that I have from this to this, from this to this, from this to this. In between that is just referred to as the white space. So I think I'm gonna come down here. I need you guys to choose what's gonna be on your photo. If your photo's of a picture of you, or a motorcycle, and you're doing magazine about motorcycles, you need to try not to cover up your image, right? Don't type directly, like I wouldn't type directly on her eye, right? I wouldn't do that. I'm gonna put my text over where it's somewhere else. So I'm gonna grab my text tool again, and I'm going to put drawing, I get all capitals, drawing like Leonardo. And I'm going to choose a different font for that. And a different color, I think. Does that stick out? Maybe I'll just stick with the Arial. Grab my selection tool. I'm going to get it off that bleed line. Just going to move it like that. And I'm going to choose a different color for that. Going back to my text tool, highlight it. Oops, that wasn't good. Text tool. And I'm going to try a different color. Something stand out. I'm going to go with something like that. And what does that look like? Well, that doesn't work. It may be nice, a nice color. I might like that color, but it doesn't work for me. I'm going to go with some green. Yes, I think so. Okay. What is this? What did I do? Let's get rid of this. Okay, and I'm going to continue on. As you can tell, this is what I'm doing. This is how I started this tutorial. You'll finish it up with more text. I want to see in this assignment your original artwork magazine cover that you're kind of following and using as a template, so I can compare it. Okay? All right.